Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might.
Dave's Fried Chicken Picks! Dave's Fried Chicken Picks!
Hi everyone, and welcome back for week 5 of Dave's Fried Chicken Picks. I'm here at the Horseshoe at the University of South Carolina. Beautiful environment, enjoying Zaxby's, my chicken of the week. Pretty excited about what we have in store for week 5. It's been a big week in the NFL last week, and as we enter the bye weeks, we're going to see what teams are made of. Let's get into some of the NFL's top stories. The Kansas City Chiefs are the only undefeated team left. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the season? I don't think anybody. Other top stories from last week include Michael Vick, who apparently has some rib problems and won't start this week against the 49ers and might not even start next week. Another huge story this week is the return of Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback for the Steelers. We'll see what it does for the Steelers offense that had a little bit of a problem with their first slip-up against the Ravens last week. Let's get into some games. San Francisco's at home against Philadelphia this week. They started great last week, scoring 14 points right in the opening few minutes, but they couldn't hang on to beat the Atlanta Falcons team. This team really wants to win, and I know no one wants to win more than Mike Singletary. I think this week they're going to get the win against an Eagles team that has had no success with Kevin Kolb as their quarterback, and Kevin Kolb will start this week with Michael Vick's injury. San Francisco getting their first win is my lock of the week. Kansas City, the league's only undefeated team, is back after a bye week. They're traveling to Indianapolis with 2 weeks to prepare. The Indianapolis Colts are going to want revenge after a last-second loss to Jacksonville this past Sunday. I don't think this game is going to be very close. I think Indianapolis is going to go ahead, come back from that loss last week, and they're going to win big. There will be no NFL teams that are undefeated after week 5 of the season. The Chiefs have had a great run. I don't think they're the better team this week. They're on the road, and I think the Colts, big day from Peyton Manning, the Colts are going to get it done. Jay Cutler last week, 9 sacks. What was he doing? That offensive line, wow. They have some problems, and they've finally been exposed. I think Carolina is going to capitalize on the great film the New York Giants have showed them since last week, and Carolina is going to get their first win of the season after barely losing to a good Saints team without a running back. The Panthers winning at home this week against the Bears. The Bears season is starting to spiral downwards real quick. Detroit and St. Louis play this week. The Rams are coming off back-to-back wins for the first time in I don't know how long. It's going to be a good game, actually. I can't believe I'm saying it, but both of these franchises are on the way up, even though Detroit hasn't mustered out a win yet with that unlucky call against Chicago in Week 1. I think the Lions are going to get their first win this week at home. Big game from Calvin Johnson. The Rams are a good team dismantling the Seahawks, who aren't a good road team at all. But this week, I'm going with Detroit, first win of the season at home against the Rams. Cleveland Browns are at home playing the Atlanta Falcons this week. Cleveland got their first win of the season last week and came through as my upset pick of the week. But this week, I think they might have a little bit of a tougher time against an Atlanta team that showed they can overcome adversity after letting up 14 early points to the San Francisco 49ers. The Atlanta Falcons came back with a last-second field goal and won that game. I expect this game to not be as heart-wrenching for a Falcons fan. They should go ahead and take this one pretty easily against the Browns. But if Peyton Hillis is available on your fantasy roster, you want to pick him up. He's run for over 100 yards against 2 of the better run-stopping defenses in the league, and this guy is for real. Jacksonville came off a huge win against Indianapolis. What an upset with a 59-yard game-winning kick by Josh Scobie. That town must be electric. Is this going to be a trap game for them with the lowly Buffalo Bills coming into town? The Bills traded away Marshawn Lynch for a 4th-round pick to the Seattle Seahawks. And honestly, their running game might see a little bit of effects from it. Fred Jackson could get some more touches, and maybe C.J. Spiller will be featured, as he has done some things to electrify audiences so far this year. I don't know exactly what the outcome of this game is going to be. It's tough. I think Jacksonville might be caught off guard by a Buffalo team that's not great, but They're not quite as terrible as people think. I think Maurice Jones-Drew has a great day on the ground. I'm going to say Jacksonville wins this one, low scoring by a field goal up in cold Buffalo this weekend. Baltimore came back with a late heroic win against their in-division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The team has looked pretty good so far, but where has that great Baltimore screen game been? And they haven't dominated a game on the ground yet. Anquan Boldin has been a great addition to this team. I look for him to get a couple more receptions this week against the Broncos team that hasn't really been that great defending the pass this year. On the other hand, the Broncos have been wonderful through the air, torching the last few defenses they've faced. Kyle Orton has done a great job passing this year, and I expect him to have some success against a Baltimore secondary that might be a little overrated and could see a little bit of missing Ed Reed this week. I think the Ravens are going to go ahead and take this one. They're at home. They should dominate the game. They have a great defense. Denver isn't great yet, but I think this one will be a little closer than people expect. I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens in a middle scoring, middle range, mid-20s type affair. San Diego plays Oakland this week. San Diego scoring a lot of points at home, not as many on the road. Oakland's starting to look a little bit better each week, getting closer to a win. They're not going to get there this week, but they're going to get there soon. San Diego Chargers take it. I think it'll be a close one, maybe decided by a field goal. Dallas plays Tennessee, and Dallas enters this game as a huge favorite. The Titans fell apart last week and let Denver sneak out a win, but I think the Titans are going to win this one. Chris Johnson is due for a big day. When's the last time you saw that guy not get 100 rushing yards? And it's been 2 weeks. I can't believe it. Tennessee going to get the win this week. I think that team is good. They're trying to find direction. They're going to get there. Green Bay travels to Washington this week. The Redskins season has been marked by defensive inconsistencies. They've looked great against the Dallas Cowboys, looked great last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, but didn't show up against the Rams or the Houston Texans. What are they going to do this week? That is the question. Green Bay has also had some defensive inconsistencies, but someone who's not inconsistent is Charles Woodson, returning an interception for a touchdown last week. I think Green Bay is going to win this one on the road, but I look for the game to be closer, and I think the game will be pretty high scoring this week. I'm going to go ahead and say that a touchdown separates these two teams, with the Packers taking the road win. Arizona looked absolutely terrible last week. They had to take out Derek Anderson and put in Max Hall at quarterback. That team has no direction right now. New Orleans, missing its top 2 running backs, Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas, didn't look that good either against the Carolina team, but they were able to squeak out a win, and that's the difference between a good team and a bad team. I think that trend continues this week, with New Orleans winning and Arizona losing. And the Monday night special is the New York Jets playing host to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings offense is still struggling to find its rhythm without Sidney Rice, and the Jets defense has been great. But the Vikings stop the run well, which is what the Jets go to, and Mark Sanchez hasn't made any mistakes so far this year. I think they have a defense that could create some mistakes. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this game. Brett Favre is going to play good on a big stage. That's my upset pick of the week. The Minnesota Vikings start the ball rolling. Week 5. Vikings beat the Jets. That's Dave's Fried Chicken Picks. Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy football. Damn, let's get chicken.
Dave's Fried Chicken Picks.